And we are live. Welcome back to the Cajun Mariculture Center. You are watching the Easy Reefers Coastal Restoration channel, where we offer beginner and low budget hobbyists advice on keeping marine reef aquariums. And giving you this advice is a guy who knows how to pronounce the word anemone. Just saying. There are many different sponsored channels where basically the extent of the information of the host is what you could probably learn in a year on Google, okay? Or just like one afternoon on the Reef to Reef forum, maybe. If you're a quick study. But today, you're watching the Easy Reefers channel. And we're going to talk about what can be verified from experience versus the old bacteria in a bottle trick. Now, this isn't particularly marketed as one of those bacteria in a bottles where you can instantly add fish. And well, there's nothing wrong with those bacteria in a bottle. They serve their purpose, okay? But their purpose is not the long-term success of a reef tank. Their purpose is for shows. Okay? Now, if you're setting up a reef tank, there are fairly responsible ways to do this from time to time. One of those is, really, the bacteria in a bottle. But bacteria in a bottle only provides a bacteriological foundation for a cycle. Bacteria in a bottle does not cycle a tank. What cycles a tank, what makes an aquarium, a reef aquarium, stable are the life forms. Okay, and I don't mean bacteria, I mean actual shit that you can see. And a reef tank isn't stable until it has those life forms. Now here's what I'm talking about. I'm not one of those people that says don't clean your sand, but you got to be careful about how you clean your sand. Because you'll find inside the sand are thousands of little critters. And you can know they're in the sand. Good morning, Maximo. Because you'll see them on the glass, like I was showing in the live stream the other day. Now, just because you see them on the glass doesn't mean you have enough of them. What you want to wait for me, it's the point at which coralline algae starts to grow. Okay? And for a nanotank, okay, I was asked by Max, in fact, one of my viewers, whether or not for a nanotank they would use dry rock, synthetic rock, or the real reef rock like they're using in Germany, or actual live rock. Now, myself personally, I recommend, and I very much have had good experience with, a mixture of dry rock combined with Well, my preference is live rock that, I'll go to the store. Hey, if I buy that clownfish from you, will you sell me that live rock too? Okay. And, you go in there into the live rock bin and get you some pieces of rubble that don't have a lot of holes and caverns in them. Just go and look for something with a couple of sponges on it. And make sure you get a good look at it. Make sure there's no critters crawling on it that you don't think you want. A brittle star, something like that's cool. Try to avoid aptasia if you can, but it's not the end of the world if you get it. And, it's kind of hard to spot when you're looking through a live rock bin. But you can order a canister of Carib Sea Rubble Zone. And you get these little rocks like this. You can make your little stack in the middle of the tank, like you're building Legos. And then take one nice little live rock that you get from the fish store and put it on top of that stack. And what that'll do is all the critters from that live rock and that reef aquarium established bacteria, as opposed to bacteria sitting in a bottle, will come and propagate onto the remaining rubble zone rocks and repopulate the sand and grow on the glass all throughout the tubing everywhere. It'll just spread all over the place. And whatever little sponges, whatever coralline algae, and whatever pests are going to come right along with that rock. And that's why, especially for a nano tank, I recommend that you find one of the stores that will sell you a piece of live rock that they have curing in their system, like in one of their tanks that their fish are in. Okay? Go for one of the live rocks that are in the tanks with the fish in them. Not necessarily from a, if you're looking at one of the little reef tanks that they have set up, they're not going to sell you anything out of that. But they might come off of a little tiny piece of rock out of their fish system. Okay? And that's where, depending on the quality of the system, of course, inspect the system, make sure it's got coralline algae growth, and make sure it's a reef established looking system that has live rock that's worth a crap, as opposed to like a Petco environment with some bullshit looking rocks, maybe a sand bed, possibly just glass bottom. You want to go to a store that's got live rock in their fish system with no diseases. Okay? Because if those fish have no diseases, guess what? The live rock probably didn't have any diseases either. If they have a proper quarantine set up, that live rock is nice and clean. And coming from the fish system, okay, there's not going to be any coral eating pests. Savvy? Because it's from the fish system. Any coral in their fish system. So there's nothing for it to eat. All that being said, what you'll find on the internet are some arbitrary numbers. Wait this long and then you can put fish in. Wait this long and then you can have an anemone. None of that is true. Okay? It's anecdotal general rules to keep people from being morons. But even then, like, I almost wanted to say some of those rules are still not good enough, but no, really they are. Like, they really overcompensate the amount of time that it takes. And it's a very healthy way to look at things. But, there's nothing wrong with looking for shortcuts. There's nothing wrong with a little impatience. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get something done. But, that being said, the most important thing about setting up and cycling a reef tank, about initially stocking a reef tank, it's not what you buy. It's who you buy it from. It's not the stuff that you get. It's the relationship that you build with that store. Now, like any other relationship, you don't want to just fucking make friends with any lying con artist on the street. Okay, the idea is you want to, you know, just make it a tourist kind of thing. Go and visit some shops, find the one that just has no diseased fish. Ask them about their quarantine setup. Ask them if you could take a look at it. Say you're new into the hobby, you've been following a YouTube channel, and you're just looking for the store that you want to be to have as your store. Say, I don't want to mess around. You guys look like the place. Okay, compliment them. Get them talking. Get them telling you about how they do things. Make sure it's up to par with what you've been researching. Okay. Now, you've established that they are a disease-free system. You go and buy a little bag of oregonite. You buy it from them. You can buy it from a cheaper retailer if you want to. I suggest buying it from them, paying a couple extra dollars. Then ask them for a little bit of sand in a bag. Buy a couple of hermit crabs from them. Get your Carib Sea rubbles. Little live rock from their system, put that on top of your rubble zone. And then dose that once a day, maybe twice a day, depending on how cloudy the water looks. The cloudier the water looks, the more ammonia bacteria you got, after the sand settles, of course. The cloudier the water looks, the more stressful it is on them little hermit crabs. You don't want to stress out the hermit crabs too much. I mean, they're only hermit crabs, but still. Be nice to the hermit crabs. Hermit crabs are good. The thing about hermit crabs to remember, and maybe a starfish or whatever else comes on that little one piece of live rock, you got to give it what it needs. Okay? So, throw a little bit of rock in there, you just got a hermit crab. Do you have to feed that tank? Yes, you got a biological system in that tank propagating. Okay? Just adding, and this is even on BRS TV, which is really disappointing because they give some of the best advice when it comes to reefing. They say, throw some mysis in the tank or throw some pellets in there and let it decompose on its own. That's not going to build enough of a bacteriological cycle on those rocks because the way that breaks down is different from the way that a fish breaks down waste and the way that a fish supplies ammonia to the water simply just by breathing and osmoting. Okay. That being said, you don't want to put a fish in a brand new tank because the ammonia is going to burn their gills. Hermit crabs, a couple dollars a piece. Starfish, like I got just all over my rocks, you can probably get somebody to just throw one in the bag for you. If I was to put a price on those, I'd sell them at 50 cents a pop. But like, for a hermit crab, make sure you got a couple of extra shells for it to grow into. Make sure you keep it fed. And make sure you get a red leg, not a blue leg. Because the blue leg will kill your snails. Like I got little Sarah snail corpses. Yeah, you can just put like a hermit crab in there. Okay? Now you wanna give it like a week at least just for the shit to settle. Okay? Wait for the water to clear up. Once the water has physically cleared up from the Carib Sea sand and from that, okay, you can come with that sand from the store and that rock from the store, and you sprinkle that store sand all over one little area of the rock where it's getting flow, and just mix it in just a little bit. Don't mix it in too much. You want it to have a nice little concentrated patch of that bacteria, and then it's going to grow out all over the rest of the sand. And that rock, that's going to basically, you're going to acclimate that rock the way you would a fish. And this is the point where I suggest you start doing water changes. Keep the water clean from this point on. Keep that hermit crab as healthy as you can. And just know that the main thing that you're shuts down my live stream. Shut down this live stream because I got to go. So feel free to ask any questions you might have in the comments, and I will get to them on the next video. Thanks for watching, y'all. Please click that like. Please learn how to speak, and then click the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And don't forget about the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and happy reefing, people.